Welcome to Transportation Tuesday, guys. It is July 22nd, third Tuesday of the month. And we got several stories. There's so much stuff going on around the country. I know you guys saw what happened in California over the weekend with that high-speed rail. We're going to be talking about that in its own separate video here pretty soon. And I hope everyone enjoyed the trip through Quebec, New York, and down to North Carolina on I-87 and Auto Route 15. And I see that the Interstate 285 video is getting a bit of traction down there about Georgia. And we have an update. Now, some of you might see this as good news, as this article that the Wall Street Journal put out recently about what's going on with Atlanta and its population. So we're going to go over that real quick as well. But not to waste too much time, let's get into the news, what you came here for. All right, last week someone said, I was trying out some new software here, and last week someone said the share screen was a little too small, so let me know in the comments if this is large enough for everyone. And our first story is about speed cameras on interstates. Now, we're all probably used to speed cameras in cities, at traffic lights and things like that, but you don't see it too often on the interstate. Let's check out what's going on with this.
Traffic, what it is. It's a setup.
People be racing. It feels like it anyway.
Hate them or embrace them. Speed cameras on 83 are here to stay 365 days a year, 24/7. Earlier this year, the legislature paved the path to keep them and to add two more. They go live on Sunday, August 3rd. WMAR2 News spotted crews along the highway on Tuesday and Wednesday this week affixing the additional cameras near the West 41st Street Bridge, both north and southbound. If that sounds familiar, you're not crazy. That's where the original two cameras had been this year before they were moved to locations near Smith and North Avenues. Now speed monitoring on the JFX encompasses about a 6.5-mile long section. Some drivers are not too crazy about the change.
Just too many though. I mean, just a little stretch of road is a lot of cameras.
It's just another way to get more money from the tax-paying citizens.
While others encourage it.
I think it's a good idea. The more people get ticketed for speeding on 83, the less we'll have to worry about people getting injured.
When I was growing up, I loved all
they just speed for no reason.
Drivers may have got.
Oh, my man was at a loss for words. All right, so let me show you guys where we're talking about here with these speed cameras. So Interstate 83 is in Baltimore. So let's go down to B more. And the JFX that they were talking about is the Jones Falls Expressway, which runs north-south down to Baltimore. So I haven't been to Baltimore in a while, so if you guys are local to the area, let me know if speeding is that big of an issue down there. But yeah, 41st is right here, just north of downtown. So this area up in here is getting some cameras. Slow down, Baltimore. Now I don't know the specific situation in Baltimore, but hey, if anything keeps drivers from speeding out of control, I'm all for it. I mean, we just saw what Florida did a couple weeks ago with speeders down there. So hey, these states are cracking down, and if you want to speed, they're going to make money off you now. And I see this probably spreading to other states. This is the easy source of revenue right here, easy source.
To knowing where and when these cameras are operational, but now there's a catch. The new law states only one camera in each direction can be operating at one time, but Baltimore DOT won't be alerting drivers which ones are on.
They can't beat the system when they rotate them like that. That shouldn't be a problem.
DOT has previously provided a 15-day grace period before monetary fines were issued. This time, that's not the case. During the 2024 fiscal year, the cameras accounted for nearly 28% of the city's speeding tickets, generating $5.6 million.
There it is. Always about the money. Hey, that's a lot of revenue. That's like free money right there. But Baltimore is not the only state doing speed cameras. They're doing it right here in Colorado. Let's take a look at the strategy out here.
slow down in construction zones or get a ticket in the mail. That is the new warning from the Colorado Department of Transportation and Colorado State Patrol.
Yeah, the state getting ready to launch its first ever mobile speed cameras on our highways, interstates. It's all possible thanks to a law passed in 23 that recently went into effect. Dylan Thomas, your reporter in northern Colorado, has been following the growing pains on the roadways. And Dylan, you first warned us about this plan months ago.
Yeah, just a couple months ago, we were talking about how there was this testing phase for these cameras in hopes that they would one day drastically slow down traffic in construction zones on stretches of highways and interstates like this one right here behind me. Well, now the day has arrived. CDOT has officially installed their first set of cameras along Highway 119. That's between Longmont and Boulder, and soon citations will be issued.
Crashes are increasing, speeds are rising, and people are being seriously hurt or killed in areas where enforcement is difficult.
Which is why Highway 119, also known as the Diagonal Highway, is now retrofitted with speed cameras as drivers approach construction.
Now I'd like to go take a look at the map, so let's look at this Diagonal Highway in Boulder. All right, that's what you see right here. This road right here is the Diagonal Highway, running from here to Longmont. So you can see it's looks like a 4-lane divided highway. I actually have not driven up here yet. I might have to go check it out. I've not driven on this highway yet. So that's what we're working with here. There's Longmont, there is Boulder. This is the first spot. If you're in Colorado, watch out.
Speed limits aren't suggestions, they're the law. Automated speed enforcement gives us a powerful, objective, and consistent way to address dangerous driving behavior before it results in a tragedy.
Some of the cameras are fixed in, others are mobile, but all are found 300 feet after mandated photo enforcement warning signs.
We have seen a high rate.
Now the difference with these compared to the ones we just saw in Baltimore is that, well, some of them are mobile, so that's some pretty advanced technology right there. And then, if I understand this correctly, this Colorado one is only for construction zones, so they won't be placing, at least for now, it doesn't look like Colorado will be placing speed cameras just on any or every highway. So it has to be a construction area where you're warned to slow down. And I do see that a lot. I see people out here, it says slow down to 55 and everybody's going 75 or 80, so hey.
Fatalities within work zones.
Both CDOT and CSP say, for the first time, these cameras give them the ability to conduct enforcement where otherwise troopers couldn't logistically or safely pull people over due to barriers.
Our data shows that more than 60% of drivers are speeding through work zones, and 11% of those are going over 10 miles an hour over that speed limit.
Our construction crews are out in the field every day working on these critical safety and mobility improvements, and speeding drivers put their lives and the lives of all other roadway users at risk.
CDOT says these cameras aren't about punishment or profits, but rather prevention.
But it's meant to gain the attention of drivers.
So you might be wondering, how does this work? Well, you pass through one set of cameras, they log your license plate. Then you keep driving and you pass through a second set of cameras, and they once again stop the timer from when you first started. Then a math equation is done by the robot in the camera, and it's able to tell the average speed you were going. If it was more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, then you can expect a citation. There is a 30-day warning period going on right now. You get the access to one warning, and if you do it a second time, the citation will even show up earlier.
All right, pretty simple calculation. Point A to point B, distance over time, calculate your average speed. If you are more than 10 over, you will get a ticket. So, slow down in the work zones in Colorado. I'm all for it. All right, this next story is in Arkansas. And if you guys recall, I think it was maybe a year or 2 years ago, did a video about this corridor of Interstate 49 and 29 that are going to run together and run from New Orleans all the way up to the Canadian border if it's ever completed. So Arkansas has one of the big gaps on Interstate 49, and they are making some progress. Let's take a look.
Work will be underway on the first steps to building a new bridge that crosses the Arkansas River here in Crawford County. And with all the work that's underway on the I-49 extension project, many longtime residents have mixed emotions about the change that's heading their way.
I don't know that it's necessary.
Mark and Brenda Whitaker have been married for 56 years, and more than half of that has been spent in their home on their 26 acres of land in Kibler, right next to where I-49 will soon be a reality.
It's hard.
Why is that?
Well, it's just interrupting your life.
I'm excited. I know it's going to be a big thing for Alma. Alma's probably going to grow. Barling will grow. And that's what everybody seems to want.
The Whitakers just bought a new home and are planning to move, but not because of the I-49 project.
Her family lives up north, and we're moving up there closer to her family. The highway didn't bother me a bit.
I-49 is a very important corridor in the United States. It stretches from Louisiana all the way up to the Canada border. So the only missing piece in that entire stretch of interstate is here in Arkansas.
Interstate 40.
Well, she is partially correct on that, but let's correct her statement. Arkansas is not the only missing portion of Interstate 49. So here is the corridor, as I explained in the previous video. Now, Arkansas has the biggest missing piece, which is between here. You see it comes here. Here's Fort Smith. Here's the area actually where they're talking about the construction. Let's see if you can see it on Google Maps. So you see right here, there's a stub built, and this new part they're talking about is going to run from here to across the river and then link up with the other side of Interstate 49 over here by I-40, which would be amazing. That's basically a bypass of Fort Smith and will connect up to Northwest Arkansas. So the missing part is down here, Fort Smith, all the way down to Texarkana. So that US 71 corridor, they got a lot of work to do. A lot of work. I don't know if we're going to ever see that. But she was wrong, because Louisiana has missing pieces of Interstate 49 as well. A famous one is the gap right here in Shreveport still. And if I recall, they still have not decided on if or how they're going to route it through here to connect the two sides. And also down in Lafayette, Interstate 49 has not been built past Lafayette. From Lafayette to New Orleans is missing. So she wasn't correct on that part. So Louisiana and Arkansas have work to do to get it complete, but Arkansas definitely has the biggest portion to complete.
Is being extended from Alma to Barling. Right now, work is underway on the first phase of the $282.5 million project. You can find it by following the endless lines of dump trucks coming in and out of Gun Club Road.
It's a 3.1 mile stretch in total between Highway 22 and Gun Club Road, but the biggest piece of that is going to be that bridge over the Arkansas River.
Ellen Coulter with RDOT says in just a few weeks, crews will start building the substructure and footing for the River Valley's newest bridge that will span the Arkansas River. This is what it will look like when finished.
This is a very big deal for Western Arkansas. This missing link of I-49 in Arkansas has been a goal of ours for a very long time to complete that. And this I-49 extension is a really important step.
Now, of course, the Whitakers are excited.
Now, you always got to love a big, beautiful bridge. So personally, I am excited to see this project getting done in Arkansas. So yeah, that's going to be awesome. Let's see what else they had to say
about their next move into a new home. And the first phase of the project, including that new bridge, is expected to be finished sometime in early 2029. In Crawford County, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
2029, stand by. I-49 about to be complete around Fort Smith, or partially at least. Can't wait. All right, now let's go out to California. Now, what's going on in California? Well, we're talking about the roads on this one and express lanes. Now, if you guys haven't noticed, express lanes have been built all over the country. This is the new wave of improving or expanding roads is with express lanes. And Sacramento, the Sacramento area, Solano County, is the latest recipient of some express lanes. Let's take a look.
Ready drivers, your commute could be getting more costly. New toll lanes have been open on I-80 through Solano County, but tonight we're driving for answers, finding out the fees are coming soon. With that, we say welcome in. Thanks for joining us for your CBS 13 News at 10. I'm Tony Lopez.
And I'm Marley Ginter. The I-80 Express Lane is a project we have told you about now for months. Some phases are finished, but tolls are the last thing to come. So let's show you where. The new I-80 Solano Express Lanes are in Fairfield and Vacaville. Caltrans has been testing out messages on weekdays, so you may have already seen them. No tolls, though, for drivers yet, but that could all change as early as later this year.
Your reporter covering Solano County, Ashley Sharp, is live for us on this tonight near I-80 in Vacaville. Get us up to speed, Ashley.
Well, here's the good news that we should make clear. It's not a mandatory toll, right? Like when you cross some of those bridges in the Bay Area, it's a toll for an express lane. And where I'm at here in Vacaville, the good news is you're seeing less orange cones. Can't be said for all of I-80, right? But a construction project to build that new express lane from here on I-80 in Vacaville down to Fairfield is wrapped up. It took about a year and a half. And the project's goal is to get you where you're going faster. It's a drive many people know all too well. The trek from the Sacramento region to the Bay Area and back. A new project on Interstate 80 in the final stages.
All right, before they continue, I want to talk about the configuration of this highway. Now, before the toll lane was built, you had a 4x4, 4 general purpose lanes on each side, which is pretty optimal. Like, this is what I consider max capacity of a freeway. Once you get to 8 general purpose lanes, that's pretty much it. Like, you don't add any more general purpose lanes. You start reaching that point of diminishing returns. So this is pretty good. This is the perfect time to add express lanes because you already maxed out the free lanes. So I like the configuration. This is definitely a good job out here in California. So it's going to be 4-1 on each side.
Putting its stamp on Solano County and beyond.
It's more than people just driving from Vacaville or just driving from Fairfield, right? It's the whole region.
Drivers may have noticed there's a new lane now open on I-80 from the 505 interchange in Vacaville through Fairfield in both directions. These lanes will soon be fast track or express lanes, optional for drivers who want to pay the price for a quicker commute.
It's the first time Caltrans has widened Interstate 80 through this stretch of like Solano County in like 50 years.
Right now, drivers are treated to a free sample of I-80 Express. Caltrans, done with construction, they opened the lanes to carpool traffic for now. It's already addressing bumper-to-bumper backups the project set out to fix.
When there's a lot of congestion and stop-and-go traffic, it creates a safety issue.
Right now, MTC, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, is testing the toll system and finishing the electronic signage needed, hoping to launch the express lane in December. So how much is it going to cost? MTC tells CBS 13 it depends on the trip's time and distance, saying, for reference, the most recent data for average toll assessed on the I-680 express lanes in Contra Costa County was about $4, and over 60% of paid trips cost drivers less than $3.
So basically what they're saying is that this is probably going to be a variable toll situation, and this is typically what you'll see on express lanes. The more congestion there is on the general purpose lanes, then the more expensive it is to take the express lanes, which, if you think about it, that's the smartest way to do it. You gotta love that free sample thing, though. That almost sounds like you get like, you know how when you sign up for a streaming service, they give you a 7-day free trial. Well, in Sacramento, they're gonna give you a free trial of the toll lanes before you have to actually pay for it in December. So enjoy it while you can out there in California, because the tolls are coming in December. So they're going to get you hooked on it, and then you're going to have to pay. Not bad. Not a bad marketing strategy.
But this isn't just about Solano County traffic. Caltrans is eyeing region-wide upgrades.
Because we want to extend express lanes all the way into downtown Sacramento.
The future of freeway traffic, better connecting Sacramento, the Bay, and everywhere in between. So what do you need if you want to use that fast track lane here through Vacaville and Fairfield once it opens later this year? Well, you need a fast track account that's linked to your license plate first. But then if you want to use it as a carpool lane, you need to get one of those fast track flex tags that you can attach to your windshield in order to use it for carpool, and you'd set it to...
Now, this is one of the most annoying things about tolls in the United States in general to me. Every little state or every region has their own toll system. You go to California, you need this fast track. You're on the East Coast, you need an easy pass. You go to Texas, you need a Texas tag. Or you go to Kansas, they have their own toll system. You go to Washington, they have their own toll system. Somebody needs to get together and get us on a universal system so you get one toll tag to travel all over the country. I mean, get it done. This is ridiculous. All right, but that's it for that. Tolls coming to California. Get ready. All right, this last story is relevant to a recent video that we talked about where we talked about Interstate 285 and how Atlanta's insane growth that's been going on since forever overwhelmed 285 and has made it more into a local road than a bypass. But according to some recent data, Atlanta's growth streak might finally be coming to an end. Let's take a look at this article real quick. I want to show you what they found here. And it says, since the invention of the air conditioner, Atlanta has known one constant, and that is growth. But it might finally be cooling off. So basically what they're saying is that for the first time since forever, Atlanta posted a negative of 1,330 people in the metro area. This is Metro Atlanta, not just Atlanta city limits. So it's saying it's the first time Atlanta lost migrants since the Bureau started tracking this stuff 30 years ago. Wow. Now, that sounds like a small number, 1,330, but when you think about how many people have been moving to Atlanta, the fact that it's a negative at all is just crazy. And now, you might remember that a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, we talked about how Tampa, Florida, was finally starting to slow down in growth as well. So this is starting to become interesting as people have been flocking to these southern metros from the Midwest, from the Northeast. Is it finally settling down? Let's see what else they found. They're saying weak hiring is going on, higher than average office vacancies. Wow. A Buckhead apartment building went into foreclosure. So there it is. Look at the chart. So even though it's a small loss, it's significant because you look at every other year, you got 5-figure increases in the Atlanta metro area. And it says surging housing costs and endless traffic are pushing people to choose smaller, cheaper cities. Now, this is the point I wanted to really get into. So something I've been thinking about or wondered about this theory, is there, because a lot of people assume that when you're talking about traffic, when you're talking about roads and the infrastructure that you need, that growth is perpetual, growth is inevitable, and it's going to go forever. If you keep building more roads, then people are going to keep moving there. But are they really? Is there a limit to how far people will be willing to live from the core city before they stop coming? Because as I've seen around America, people are willing to live pretty far from the core of a city in order to get a cheap single family home. But what's the maximum distance they're willing to go? Because in Atlanta now, you got to go way up into the foothills now to get some of the cheaper housing. Is anything even down in Fulton? I mean, Alpharetta, forget about it. So has Atlanta reached that point to where to get a cheaper home in the Atlanta metro area is going to require living too far from Atlanta itself for most people to stomach? So if you look at this couple right here that they're talking about, okay, right now Atlanta has 29 counties in the metro area and has 6.3 million people. So you got some photos here. Okay, now this is the other interesting part. Is it saying that a lot of these Sunbelt metros are starting to slow down? You see Tampa, you see Orlando, you see Phoenix, and these are places that people have been flocking to. But is it getting to the point now where they spread out about as far as they can spread out before it's just too far out, and people are now going to smaller metros? So where are the people going now instead? Because they're still moving to the south. But as the growth slows in these very large metro areas you see here on the screen, people are now starting to go places like Knoxville, Chattanooga, Wilmington, North Carolina, the foothills of the mountains of North Carolina. Those small mountain towns in western North Carolina are seeing a lot of growth. Some of the mountain areas in northern Georgia are starting to get some of the growth. So Americans keep moving in search of this cheaper single family home. Right here in the article, they said something that we said on the last video. Atlanta is exactly 1 hour away from Atlanta. And I was wondering about this myself, because one of the reasons that I would never live in Atlanta is the traffic. And, a lot of people kept moving there despite how horrible the traffic is. And Atlanta is really in a tough spot with traffic, as they really don't have any real way to fix it. Because I think at this point, we can state that Cobb County and Gwinnett County are not going to allow any MARTA transportation in their areas. They're probably going to be an outer perimeter. So all you're going to get is these interchange tweaks in the Atlanta area that they help a little bit, but there's not a real solution for Atlanta, unfortunately. So yeah, you see these people now, they're moving up to Chattanooga. So let's look at Atlanta on the map and see what the options are. So as Atlanta gets overcrowded, people are looking at Chattanooga, Knoxville. They're looking at Greenville, South Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. Let me know what you guys think about this story, though. Do you think that there's a maximum distance that people are willing? How far would you be willing to live from the core city in a suburb before it's just too far, and you just say, I'm just not going to live in that place? Or does it not matter to you as long as you get the home that you can afford? But yeah, this is very interesting. Now, this is just a small blip for right now. Like, we need to see some more data before we can say it's an actual trend. But it's just interesting because you never see population loss and Atlanta metro area have never been mentioned in the same sentence before. And all right, guys, that'll do it for this Tuesday. A lot of interesting things going on. That Atlanta story in particular intrigues me. I'm really curious to see what happens down there with that and the population loss. But let me know what you think of the stories. What do you think about speed cameras on interstates? Do you think that's fair, or do you think that's just a money grab? And what about I-49? I mean, I did a video talking about Arkansas's interstate ambitions, which were as big as Texas. Do you think I-49 is necessary? Do you think Arkansas will even be able to build it in our lifetime? Now, I'm kind of old, but some of you younger guys' lifetime. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next week for more Transportation Tuesday.